and have deployed a prototype on the Ethereum testnet. And so we're going to go over this design where we've created a coin called USDK coin, which is essentially the settlement coin that falls under path 2. And the other coin is the King coin, which falls under path 1. So this is a hybrid model that I'm going to show. I'm going to demonstrate the functionality. I'm going to show you that it is live on the Ethereum testnet, and I'm going to show you some of the parameters that we've built into this smart contract. So hang tight and we'll get going. All right, it's Jeff Tiefenthaler again. It's June 12th, 2026. I'm showing you the terminal for the development on these smart contracts. As you can see here, we have 3 contracts so far created: the King token and the reserve registry and the iReserve registry. What I want to show you though first is the reserve registry here. Remember, the reserve registry basically are the rules that we have hard-coded into the smart contract that allow us to mint new USDK coin, issue new USDK coin, send, receive, all the rules that we must follow in order to create new tokens. And those rules are very important. This is a over-collateralized protocol. And you can see here that the minimum total coverage is 200%, and the minimum layer 1A coverage is 50%. So if we go back to the dashboard, you can see here the reserve is fully collateralized. The coverage ratio is 200%. The layer 1, which is cash and cash equivalents, USDT, USDC is what we're using here, is over collateralized by 20%, right? We have $700 million here. We have $300 million in layer 1B, allowing us to issue 1 billion USDK coin. We have 500 million in USDK, 500 million in crypto, 500 million in hard assets, real estate, real world assets, tokenized assets. Anyway, my point in showing you this is to go back here and just show you that this is a hard-coded minimum coverage rule that can be updated, but for demonstration purposes, we want to over-collateralize this protocol. We want to over-collateralize USDK coin by 200%, and the minimum threshold for layer 1A coverage is 50%, basically meaning if I go back here to the dashboard, meaning that if layer 1A drops below 500 million, we cannot issue new USDK coins, right? We want to make sure that we are able to redeem coins instantaneously for those who hold this coin. And layer 1B also allows us to do that with cash equivalents or T-bills or things that can settle and are liquid within 48 hours. So anyway, we're going to run some tests showing that even if our layer 2 assets or our layer 3 assets appreciate in value and maintain that 200% coverage ratio, but the layer 1A bucket, that tier drops below the 50% threshold, this protocol will not be able to issue new USDK coin, and that's built into the smart contract. So we're going to test that here for you in a sec. Okay, before we run this test, let me explain what's going to happen here. Right now, we are at a coverage ratio of 200%, but what we're going to do here is we're going to drop the layer 1A reserve from 700 million to 450 million. Now remember, it's a 50% threshold right here. So anything below 500 million should change the status of issuance open to halted. And that's what we're hoping to demonstrate here. Even, let's say hypothetically, if our layer 2 and layer 3 assets appreciate, the NAV appreciates, And so we technically are at a coverage ratio of 200% because of the appreciation in the layer 2 and layer 3 assets. But the layer 1A assets have dropped below the threshold. We should not be able to mint new coins. So I'm going to go back to the code here. I'm just going to show you the terminal and cursor. And this is the JavaScript file that Hard Hat will compile for us. But you can see here that we're making an update to this file. The old values right here for layer 1A were at 700 million. We're going to update that to 450 million. But we're also going to show that even when the layer 2 and layer 3 assets NAV appreciates, in this case from 500 million to 700 million with layer 2, the crypto assets, and from 500 million to 550 million with layer 3, the hard real world assets. Despite that appreciation, we still can't issue new USDK coin because our layer 1 bucket has dropped below the threshold. And remember, if we go to the actual contract here, the reserve registry contract I showed you earlier, those rules are hard coded here. Yeah, okay, here it is. I passed it. Yeah, so the minimum total coverage is 200%. But what's going to happen here is this layer 1A floor is going to drop below 50%. Therefore, that rule will be broken. And by the way, if I go back to the update reserves JavaScript, this is just a sample JavaScript file. We're manually updating these values. In subsequent versions, we're going to have a smart contract, which is going to be an Oracle node that is a live price feed that updates these values automatically every 30 seconds or so. So it won't require a manual update, but we've got the manual update here. We are going to now open up the terminal. Let's just open up a new terminal and run the command. Okay, you can see that was successful. Here is the state before, as I've previously shown you. These layers have been updated to the new proposed state and executed successfully. This is the reserve registry. You can see when we updated the reserve registry values, we were able to verify this on Etherscan. And as you can see, issuance allowed went to false. So we cannot issue any new USDK coin right now because our layer 1A is below that threshold. Let's check something else. Yes, and as you can see here, issuance has halted, right? We are now at 450 million USDK on layer 1A. No bueno, we cannot issue new USDK until we bring that back up to the threshold. And the way that we would do that in this case is probably by selling some of the appreciation from the layer 2 and layer 3 assets, or bringing on new capital providers. Okay, we are going to continue with the demo, and I'm going to show you that even if we tried to mint new USDK coin, that wouldn't work. And in this JavaScript file, you can see here that we are going to try to mint 5 million new USDK coins to this Ethereum wallet address on the test network. So let's give it a try. It should fail. That's the expected result here. We'll go back to our terminal. Let's open up a fresh terminal. Okay. So here's our hard hat command. Let's run this. Okay, perfect. So yes, the wallet that we tried to mint from is the admin wallet. It has a minter role, which is true, but it did not pass our compliance check because our layer 1A collateralization dropped. We were under the 50% threshold. We were not allowed to issue new USDK coin, and it was aborted. So that was a successful test there. Okay, as you can see, we're back, and we still are not allowed to issue new USDK coin because our layer 1A reserve is below the threshold that we've programmed into the smart contract. So what we're going to do here is we're going to update the smart contract, and we're going to give us a 5% buffer. We're going to give us some headroom in order to be able to actually mint USDK coins. So we're going to bring that floor up to 75% and mint an additional chunk of coin. So instead of 700 million, it's going to be 750 million at the layer 1A reserve level. So here's our JavaScript. Let's go ahead and run this. We'll let's see. Let me close some of this stuff up. Close terminal. That's fine. We don't need that. Okay. Let me rerun this script. We're going to update the reserves. Boom. Okay. Here we go. Okay. The state before, again, issuance wasn't allowed. We're updating to a new proposed state, and issuance is now open. Okay. Issuance is allowed. Let's go back and look at our dashboard. Yes, we're back to issuance open. We're over collateralized now. So because of that, that's a good thing. We can issue new USDK coins. So let's go ahead, go back to the terminal. Let me get my script. Okay, we're going to issue some new USDK coin. We're going to mint. Boom, boom, boom. Yep, issuance allowed true. That worked. It's great. Look at this. Okay, cool. Okay, so what we have here is the deployer wallet, the admin wallet, which is connected to both the King coin and the reserve registry, and was verified as having the minter role. Is not blocked. Issuance is allowed. Okay, we minted 5 million new USD coin to this wallet. Here's the mint transaction, and here we can find it on Etherscan. I think I have that address up. We can look at it. So yeah, that mint was successful. That was complete. If we go back here, yep, 5 million transaction occurred. Bang, bang. There we go. It's great. So we are validating this and verifying it on the Ethereum test network. That worked. Okay, folks, we're going to now demonstrate burn functionality from the deployer wallet, the admin wallet. But looking back at our reserves, as you can see, we have 1.05 billion USDK coins issued. Okay, this is because we just minted 5 million coins and sent them to that wallet address. So we are going to burn Now we are going to burn 5 million coins. Let me just check a couple things here. First, looking at the burn contract. This is our JavaScript. Yep. Okay. So we got a burn amount. We're going to burn 5 million coins. All right. Let's do this. Let's go to our terminal. Let me get this command. Sometimes just easier to copy and paste it. Boom. Boom. All right. Let's see if this works. It should work. Okay, cool. So yeah, it verified that the admin wallet, the deployer wallet, has a burner role, as you can see here. Contract is not paused, and we successfully burned 5 million USDK from the deployer wallet, and the total supply is now back to 1 million. So yeah, everything's looking good. Let's check out the dashboard. That's what the dashboard looks like. Yep, cool. We are shaking and baking. Everything looks good. In fact, if we go back to the actual contract, here it was before. We had 1 billion, 5 million USDK coin. Let me refresh that. Yep, cool. It's back down to 1 billion. That burn worked. You can see right here, confirmation on chain that burn did indeed occur. Okay, after successfully minting those new tokens, we are going to read the token state. And you can see the wallet right here that we minted the additional 5 million USDK coin to. Received that, has a balance of 5 million USDK coins. So this was the wallet that we just used in the minting test. So everything is looking good here. Our coverage ratio is at 203.98%, which is consistent with what the dashboard says. So yeah, everything is looking good here.